satisfied with how this first part of the season has gone into the FIBA international break?
Yeah, I think that, for the most part, we probably couldn't ask for a better, first stretch into this as a new group and as we're still forming and we're winning games and winning road games, and that's huge, right? I would say, all things considered, it was a good first quarter of the season or whatever it's been, and we get out of it healthy, and we're in a good spot to get some practice under our belts here a little bit, get a little rest, get a little recovery, and try to move the group forward and see if we can figure out how to play 40 minutes instead of 20 or 30. But extremely proud of the group. I think we're scratching the surface of how good we can be. I know we won the second half 57-38. I know that it was 16-3 in fast break points. I know we outscored them 32-6 on the bench. I know we had one turnover the second half. When you're facing that kind of pressure, and for us to get organized in the second half, I thought it was kind of unorganized and uneven and choppy of a first half. I thought we played that good of a second half where we really defended, we rebounded. Z had 16. We won the rebounding game. Just an outstanding effort. And then the offense kind of caught up, really by DJ making a couple threes and changing the whole game because the ball started going in the net a little bit.
When you're trailing by 11 against a side like the Phoenix, you're up in your face, how do you manage to negotiate that?
Well, we kind of talked about it before of just trying to keep our poise. Now, it's easier said than done because they are so all over the place and, the pressure is mounting and we just weren't, it wasn't like the pressure, maybe it affected us in how we looked in the half court or quarter court because we just couldn't get into the offense that we wanted. But, you're trying to weather the storm there. You know that's going to come, it's going to happen, especially on the road. And then, you try to set your team. And the way you can set your team is by the defense and rebounding and then have a chance to run back. And then that's when the offense looks all more organized and then you can start to find shooters and things.
They did a great job on Bryce, but he managed to turn the game for you in that third quarter, didn't he? How did you get him, I suppose, more involved in that second half?
Well, what they started to do is we were trying to get certain guys on the ball, started with DJ setting some screens, and then they wanted to blitz Bryce or put two to the ball. And, then you've got a shooter out of it, and you've got to make some choices on if you're going to double the ball and Bryce, and then you've got to make sure you get to somebody else. So we just tried to find some offense. Really proud of the way Bryce handled the pressure. 19, 9 assists, 3 turnovers when he's handling it that much. And, we found DJ in that rhythm. We know that he can do those sort of things and he can change the whole game because the ball goes through the net a little bit and then you get Z to the rim or get Flynn to the rim and guys start moving around. I thought we did some really good things early with Isaac Humphrey's energy early and, even in the second half some. And then, Nick came in down the stretch and did a great job of defense and rebounding and stuff too.
And like you said, DJ was the beneficiary down the stretch.
Yeah. To find it, right? And we didn't have the good rhythm. I think DJ only played like maybe 3 minutes in the first half. So I was sitting there at halftime saying, okay, look, we need to set our team. We have too much talent for the way we organized the first half. Plus, I thought we were only down 2 possessions at half. And then that's just getting everybody into a rhythm. We have a lot of players that can play and us getting just organized. And that's what it was.
Is that the best version of you, DJ? Like where, the pressure goes to other players and you can just, freely shoot?
Yeah, Bryce had 9 assists, I think most of them to me. So, I don't know, just being a professional, being ready off the bench and doing what I do is make shots and try to be a winner.
Are you still trying to learn how Bryce plays? It's only been, 14 games?
A little bit. I think just picking the spots and where he likes to, go one-on-one and whatnot. But that's why there's a FIBA break now and we've got 2 good weeks to figure it out even more with some good practice.
Mike, what are you looking to maximise during this FIBA break window now?
Well, I'm like every coach. We just want to practice. We've had a stretch here where we've played twice a week for like maybe 3 weeks, so 6 games or so. It's been I really love to play. games. I think it puts guys in a good rhythm. But, we've had enough of new guys, even with Nick a little bit, and then changing the starting lineup a little bit. And we changed it again tonight for a little different look, also to handle maybe their pressure early on. And just finding those rhythms. I think DJ can certainly impact the game. I wanted that to happen in the first half. And then there was a stretch where the defense started to set and our starters got a little more organized, and then for sure I was sitting there at halftime saying, all right, we're in a pretty good position for how unorganized, but I think that we get a chance to rest a little bit. Mm-hmm. We get a little chance to hit the recovery. We get a chance to kind of exhale from the first part, and then we'll go back and have a multiple days of some really good practices where we can start to get playing combinations together. And I'd like to, come out of this break, a different team.
DJ, I was talking to a couple of different guys pre-game, and they said just how well you've sort of taken, coming off the bench in your strike. Can you guide us through your mindset coming off the bench and what you're sort of thinking in that last quarter when you do those big shots in big-time moments?
Just try and win a championship, and if that means play, don't play, come off the bench, start. I go the same thing every day. I come in, I do my work, I trust the process, and come in and do what I do best. So it's just staying a professional, man. I've won 2 championships in 5 years, and wouldn't mind having a 3rd in 6, and then hopefully a 4th in 7 if I'm that lucky. And I just want to be known as a winner. I've said it multiple times in a press conference. I want to be a winner.
Mike, you're, I guess, in a situation where you've got this sort of huge depth of talent, and it looks like you're still kind of trying to figure out what your best rotation is and who best to use. Have you got like a point in the season where you go, okay, this is the rotation that I want to settle on, or are you sort of trying new things at the moment, or is it a horses for courses all the way through?
Yeah.
Give us an insight into that.
Yeah, well, I think that I've been around different organizations, and there's probably different philosophies on it a little bit. I think that we have multiple starters, and I think I have a hell of an 11-man team and roster. And I think having different starting lineups is good. Now, last year was a different team, and we kind of settled into a team and a rotation. And I quite frankly didn't think that we had the depth that this group does. We just have more talent. So, figuring out what that looks like and the different playing combinations, it's as much as, DJ's been a starter for a long time. He plays 3 minutes. He plays probably, I don't know what you ended up with, like total minutes. 21, so like 17, 18 in the second half. There are going to be different starting lineups at times, and I think that's good for this group because we have so much talent. And then there's different rotations when you start different guys. I don't know what that'll look like out of the to break, to be honest with you. I think that we have a lot of different interesting combinations with Troy and Flynn and Matt Kennan and DJ and Isaac White, right? That Bryce is sort of over here doing Bryce things, and I think that we have 3 of the most talented bigs in the league. I really believe, and they play different. So there's a lot of combinations. The coaches, the assistant coaches and I are always kind of tinkering with it. And then, when we scrimmage at practice, we're specifically going to certain groups to see that group play together. And, I've always talked about the starters and the bridge and who you close with. Well, that changes a little bit with this group. And I can't give you a real clear answer. But I think that for this group, because it's so talented, I think, that you're going to see different lineups throughout the second and end of the season here.
DJ, it felt through the game, like particularly the first 3 quarters, it was almost like, from my perspective, it was real edge of your seat stuff in terms of one team would punch, other team would punch back, no one could gap. There were so many highlights throughout. Do you notice that when you're on the floor and when you're watching on, you go, oh, this is a high-level game, this is an entertaining contest?
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, South East is a great team, and it's like playoff basketball, man. It's like that's the intensity it had, and that's where we had to find ways of, all right, you can't go back and forth, score. We had to get stops too, which we did, and we blew the game open halfway through the 4th and be able to sustain that, which was good.
There was a 3 you made, I think it might have been your 3rd one, and you turned to someone in the crowd, and were you celebrating with them, or was that a Phoenix fan? Can you give us some insight into that when you...
I think that was Geordie Hunter at the bench. Obviously, Geordie and I were teammates before, and he said something on the possession down, and I chirped back at him, so I told him to sit down and watch.
Mike, what did you make of Styles Cheatham's game tonight? And, you know, I guess his work sort of above the rim in that last quarter.
Yeah, well, he's a beast, right? I mean, we ask him to do a lot of different things. You guys have heard me talk about he's sort of like that Swiss Army knife for us. I mean, he's handling the ball, he's helping us function on offense, and he's guarding multiple guys. We kept changing his matchup throughout the game, you know, even like switching or whether he was in a coverage. But, you know, he just does so many things, and at his size, there's nobody in this league like him. The way he defends, the way he rebounds, whether he can guard small, guard bigs, handle it. So he does a lot of things for us besides being above the rim. I'm glad he finally got a couple of that highlight dunk or put-back dunk and some of those things. We've kind of been waiting for it. But, you know, he's a luxury to have down the stretch because, you know, when the ball goes up late, he's usually above everybody. And there's times when you know, we switch to he's got, you know, he's guarding a small or whatever, so that he's got like a free run to go in there and get those boards late, and he closes possession. And really proud of our defense down the stretch of the second half. But down in the fourth quarter, we really defended.
DJ, how much of a vocal presence is someone like Zion for this group?
I mean, I think we all speak and we all want to communicate, which was something we didn't have last year. And it allows us to trust guys out there and obviously helps Mike a lot out as well. So Z's a big part of that. And, yeah, man, he's just a beast. He does all the little stuff for us.